Hello everyone! The Bronze and Infant Dragonflights have tried to come a bit closer together within the expansion Dragonflight. The true timeline is being questioned, while altering what must be might not be the way. When Nosdormu showed Eternus that her sister's death was her choice, her sacrifice, it made her question the rest of the so-called true timeline. What other moments of sorrow or anger had life-saving consequences? When the Mists of Pandaria parted, the Horde and Alliance brought their conflict to these shores and awoke a slumbering evil, but perhaps it was all necessary to bring about a brighter future. It is time to reflect on the past with a new perspective. That's why she's here, along with those of the infinite Dragonflight whom she could convince to join her, observing the tale of the past with our time-running characters going back in time. On our back is a cloak that absorbs threads of time, which increases our stats and experience gains. Part of that is then shared with alts to become time runners as well. The story plays out the way that we're used to, with some of the storylines sadly not making it in, but for the sake of the video, I've made sure to add them myself. As rewards, we earned bronze, which allowed us to buy a whole bunch of transmog, mounts, heirlooms, pets, toys, even those highly desired Tusks of Manoroth. Story-wise, there isn't anything majorly different that plays out. However, there is one mystery still unresolved. Amongst the vendors, there stands a hooded supplier. They don't do anything, they don't say anything, they have no business with us, so the sky's the limit as to who this character might be. Personally, I'm a big fan of the idea that this is Xal'atath, cruising the timelines and different versions of the game. The idea being that she got bits from Cthulhu in classic Season of Discovery, N'Zoth from the dealings in Battle for Azeroth, Yogg-Saron from sucking out the corpse of Galagrond in Dragonflight, and Y'Shaarj right here in Pandaria Remix. But of course, that is full-on speculation. I just really like the idea, but who knows what this hooded supplier is supposed to be. Now with that out of the way, I invite you to sit back, relax. Here's the full story of one of my favorite expansions, Mists of Pandaria. The story of Pandaria begins far before the mist parted and we set foot on land. In the far distant past, we have the Titans, who did battle with the old gods and their so-called Black Empire, bring order to the world and saving the world's soul inside from the void's corruption. Or so we've been told. Mid-combat, the Titan Amantul ripped out the old god Y'Shaarj, and as he did, bits and pieces of the old god's corpse fell back to the surface below, brought havoc wherever they landed. The most powerful of these pieces, like Y'Shaarj's heart, they were gathered and buried deep underground, but other fragments incorporated themselves into features of the planet itself. Over centuries, new civilizations formed atop one of these pieces. It would later be known as Pandaria.
For Pandaria!
A land formed on top of the old god's bits is destined for darkness, and Khepera, locking Y'Shaarj's heart underground, didn't help much either. They were planning to study it and understand more of the nature of the old gods and other void creatures. But we've seen how experiments like that can end up accidentally creating more of the old gods. Thankfully, that didn't happen here, but things still didn't exactly go great. Sargeras would end up fighting his fellow titans, strike them down, but only their physical form. Their souls raised back to Azeroth into their keepers, which caused them a whole bunch of confusion. Confusion, which the old god Yogg-Saron, locked up over at Ulduar, made full use of. Khepera also felt the effects, but he gave it another glance or two and figured out that their creators, their gods, were dead. He went into a depressed, self-imposed exile, leaving his beloved Mogu to take care of business.
Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters. As parents, we pass our legacy on to our children. What values do we choose to instill in our progeny? What will our children learn from our mistakes? What sort of world will we create and leave behind for our daughters and sons? Parents place their children on a path, but they do not always know where the road will take them. The Mogu were children as well, children of the Titans. They were once a legion of stone, heartless and obedient. By the Titans' command, they fought the terrible servants of the old gods, They shaped the mountains and carved the rivers of the land. And they created a magical cradle of life in a hidden valley that we now call the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. But eventually, the Titans fell silent, and their creations were cursed with flesh. The Mogu grew restless. Many generations later, when the Thunder King united them, they seized upon their legacy. I truly believe now that the Mogu thought they were doing the work of the Titans. They fought against the Mantid and used the powers of the Vale to create new life. Oh, but such terrible works. Parents cannot always be assured of the legacy they will leave behind. How especially true this is when the parents are gods and the children monsters.
Ixalan, messing around in Ulduar, would give birth to the Curse of Flesh, which was designed to weaken the Titanforged, make them more vulnerable to the old god's corruption, and literally give them flesh. A curse that reached the Mogu, and a great age of strife followed. But one of them, Lei Shen, he could not believe this was all that there was to their lives. Surely their people deserved better, had a higher purpose than constantly backstabbing each other, murdering out other tribes. So he set out to find Creator Ra, expecting the Keeper to have some sort of plan, to offer some answers, but all he found was a Keeper that had given up. No matter. If Raden wasn't gonna do it, then Lei Shen would continue the Titan's mission, or the way that he envisioned it to be. With stolen powers and Raden locked away, he enslaved the mortal races of Pandaria, like the Pandaren, the Jinyu, and the Hosen. And when existing slaves perished or proved inefficient, he would shape new ones, like the Grummels or the Saurok.
His followers fell to their knees before him. "We will call you the Lightning King," they said. But Lei Shen did not agree. "Lightning strikes in an instant and is over in a flash," he said. "But thunder proclaims the coming of the storm. Thunder quakes the skies long before the lightning strikes, and thunder echoes in the hills long after lightning's power is spent. It is thunder that sends animals cowering and fills the hearts of peasants with dread. Let thunder be my herald, so that my power is felt throughout the land. I will be the Thunder King." Oh, my friend, that awful sound. For 100 generations, the crash of thunder filled the hearts of Pandaren with terror.
Under his ruthless thumb, they were forced to build him an empire and a great serpent wall to keep those pesky Mentid out of their Vale. The Mentids are an evolution of the Akir, in this case evolved under the influence of Yesharash, whose essence is infused into the lands. The Mentids didn't consciously know this, but they were drawn to the Vale because of the heart of their old god that was locked underneath. Every 100 years, the swarm would fly out, strike, and whoever managed to survive would return that much stronger. Each cycle of 100 years would see the Mentid grow, become more bold, until the Mogu could no longer stay on the defense. They would invade the Mentid lands and might have wiped them out, was it not for their first Paragon rising up. This one was lucky enough to be there at the right time, at the right moments, using their amazing skills to turn the tide of battle. But they didn't want to leave the survival of the race to luck and chance. They wanted to be there in times of great need. So the first Paragon of the Kluxi figured out how to preserve himself in Ember, preserved and able to be called upon in times of great need. Over time, more Paragons would rise amongst the Mentids, each offering different skills, different abilities, earning the right and privilege of becoming these amazing fighters for their people, preserved within the Ember. Now, building a Serpent's Wall amidst Mentid attacks, that meant great loss of life, great loss of slaves, but the Mogu cared very little. The results of all their pain and suffering would see the rise of an empire whose buildings and monuments still stand to this day. It also drew the attention of other races, like the Zandalari trolls, who eagerly entered an allegiance with Lei Shen. His empire might have lasted much longer, was it not for Lei Shen traveling to Uldum and getting blown up by the Tol'vir, who did not agree with his course of action. They fought the path of the Titans and the Keepers. It should not be drenched in the blood and misery of Azeroth's mortals. In order to stop the Thunder King, they reconfigured their Forge of Origination, the extremely powerful weapon targeted to end Lei Shen, which is actually the reason why Uldum is now so dry and sandy, as it was once a jungle area. Lei Shen's death did not immediately mean freedom for the people of Pandaria, but a revolution was brewing. The Pandaren were strictly forbidden from learning how to read or write, or even how to speak any language other than the Mogu tongue. Of course, they were also forbidden to even touch a weapon, let alone learn how to wield it, and so they secretly turned their own bodies into their weapons. Kang was the first, who after losing his wife and child to the cruelty of the Mogu, he realized that their extreme cruelty, it was not a sign of strength, it was a symptom of their weakness.
What is the source of your power? Think carefully before you answer. Many adventurers point to their weapons, or their equipment, or to tomes of arcane might. Long ago, when my people were slaves of the Mogu Empire, we were forbidden from carrying any weapon at all. We were not fighters, and no one believed we could fight the Mogu without magic and steel until Kang, the Fist of First Dawn, opened our eyes. One day, the beloved monk issued a challenge to his fellow slaves. "Hit me!" he called out. Surprised, the beleaguered Pandaren slaves tried to strike Kang. One by one, they failed, for he intercepted their blows like a dancer and sidestepped their attacks like a reed in the wind. "Our backs are hardened by the whips of the Mogu," he told them. "Our arms are powerful from building their fortresses. Our minds are sharp from working alongside our enemy. You think the Mogu are stronger? I say we are their strength." The farmers, the bricklayers, the shepherds, the smiths, they all bowed before Kang. "Teach us," they said. "Teach us to fight." And when they rose as warriors. Your voice, your hands, these are the tools of true heroes. Use them well, and you can change the world.
They had grown dependent on their servants. Without them, the Mogu were nothing. Hiding his lessons in an artistic dance, his teachings were passed on until they relocated to Kun-Lai Summit, where they built themselves a monastery. Bit by bit, their ranks grew, until they had become strong enough to strike, defeat the Mogu at the Mogu Vaults, robbing them of their means for creating more twisted soldiers. Other races would soon join this Pandaren Revolution. Kang had been right. As more servants stepped away, the Mogu Empire fell into chaos, until they were overthrown. A new empire rose up, for not just the Pandaren, but the other races that called the region home. One built on the principles of justice, wisdom, and benevolence. But peace rarely lasts within Warcraft, and it would again be Sargeras to cause a whole bunch of strife and suffering. The War of the Ancients, they call it, in which Azshara and her followers thought it was a really good idea to bring in the Dark Titan and purge the world. Emperor Xiaohao of Pandaria was granted a vision that trouble was brewing, and the peaceful reign that he was hoping for was not going to be his fate. Plagued with uncertainty, Xiaohao asked the August Celestials and his friend the Monkey King for help to make sense of his visions, as he would go on a journey to expel the dark emotions that troubled his heart. Doubt, despair, fear, anger, hatred, and violence. Pride was the only vice that he did not manage to overcome. But the others he poured into the lands infected by the old god Y'Shaarj, giving birth to physical manifestations, the so-called Sha of doubt, despair, fear, anger, hatred, and violence. Each was defeated and locked away at the temples of the great August Celestials. Once free of his burdens, Shauhaus set out to spare Pandaria from the sundering he had seen. His spirit merged with the land itself, forced it to break away from the rest of Kalimdor. As the world sundered apart, his very essence shrouded Pandaria in a thick mist that would hide it and protect it. For the next 1,000 years, Pandaria would remain hidden as it faded into legends.
I conquered my doubts, my fears, my anger. I buried all of it within the land. But I held on to one vice, the one Shah I never conquered. Pride. My pride cloaked this land in mists. I thought we were better than the rest of the world. I thought we could solve our own problems, but for 10,000 years we stagnated. Our doubts and fears buried in the land, rising up to fester whenever we allowed them. When the Sundering ripped apart the continents of Azeroth, we Pandaren thought that the rest of the world had been utterly destroyed. But as the centuries passed, one young explorer decided to see what was out there. His name was Liu Liang, and he set out to discover the world on the back of a turtle. We celebrate his bravery with statue and song, but if you were actually there, on the beach that very day, well, I'm sure he looked quite silly indeed. Oh, how the Pandaren laughed at him! But Liu Liang was more clever than anyone thought. Sea turtles always return to the beach where they were born, and so, despite the mists that envelop our land, he always had a way home. Every few years, he returned, with tales of mysterious cities in the sand, nomadic people living on endless grassy plains, a great empire under the ice, and a magical kingdom gilded in gold. Each time he returned, more and more Pandaren answered Liu Liang's call and joined him on his growing turtle. They were the bravest among us, the explorers, the adventurers. And that is the lesson of Liu Liang, my friend. Everyone always laughs at the explorer. They always laugh until he returns.
Liu Liang, on top of his small turtle Shenzin-zu, sailed through the cloaking mists. His small turtle grew bigger and bigger, housing all these wandering Pandaren, until they simply stayed on top of his back, the so-called Wandering Isle. That's why we would see Pandaren as early back as Warcraft 3, with Chen Stormstout hailing from the Wandering Isle. Ironically, while the Pandaren of the Turtle would carry on Liu Liang's values for centuries to come, eventually they too lost a bit of their wanderlust as well. Content to just hang around on their turtle, but not Lily Stormstout though, Chen's niece. She was all about exploring the world like her uncle Chen had, and her moment would come when the mist parted due to the cataclysm rocking the world. The Alliance and Horde would also crash upon the Wandering Isle, pulling in the Pandaren to either faction. The legendary Pandaria was now revealed for all to see. New lands, new people, and new resources to conquer. But that's a tale for next time. So, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one. And until next time, see ya!
So... it was a bear?
In a hat!
The end of the Cataclysm was proclaimed to be the dawn of the Age of Mortals. And so mortals did what they do best, which is war with each other. War Chief Garrosh Hellscream led the charge with the bombing of Faramor. But once the mists around Pandaria parted, more lands, people and resources awaited to be claimed.
To ask why we fight is to ask why the leaves fall. It is in their nature. Perhaps there is a better question. Why do we fight? To protect home and family. To preserve balance and bring harmony. For my kind, the true question is, what is worth fighting for?
The Alliance went in under the orders of King Varian to reclaim the White Pawn, his son Enduin, whose ship has gone off course by the mist still surrounding Pandaria.
We have been drawn off course. Horde air fleet. Many casualties. Shipwrecked on an uncharted isle. But the White Pawn is accounted for. Repeat, the White Pawn is safe.
Anduin.
Surprise attack! Requesting immediate, if anyone's received.
Sir, the 7th Fleet has already been dispatched, but it could take weeks before it...
There's no time to waste. We'll send a small elite force to secure this new land and bring back my son.
Whereas the hordes, they quickly followed under orders of the war chief.
Alliance blood spills. This pleases me, General.
There's more. I received word that our southern fleet engaged an Alliance envoy. We chased the royal flagship until it ran aground.
Aground? Where?
Apparently, they found a massive, uncharted landmass, shrouded by dense mists.
And you let the Alliance get there first! Redirect the invasion fleet! General, you and your best veterans will pave our way. Storm the shore and paint this new continent red!
Landing within the Jade forests aptly named not only due to the jade in the ground, but also because of Yu'lon, the Jade Serpent, who makes her home here. She is one of the 4 August Celestials of Pandaria, wild gods that have watched over the lands for as long as they can remember. In the days that Leishen the Thunder King brought misery, Yu'lon was one of the last remaining sparks of hope for the Pandaren. Not wanting his slaves to have any of that, the Thunder King shot her down with a bolt of lightning, sending her to die in the Jade Forest below. Instead of death, Yu'lon came up with a solution. She asked the Pandaren to build her a statue in her likeness, which took them around 100 years to complete. Once done, she transferred her life essence into the statue, and then was reborn. A cycle that now needs to be repeated every 100 years or so. Yu'lon would also assist Emperor Xiaohao with guidance on his journey, the Emperor being unable to completely vanquish the Sha, instead deciding to imprison them beneath the lands, beneath the temples of Pandaria's August Celestials. For Yu'lon, that would be the Sha of Doubts. Now the Alliance and Horde coming in hot and bothered, full of negative emotions. It offered a feast to the Sha, and while Taranzu, leader of the Shadowpan, tried to convince us to stop feeding the Sha and causing more trouble for Pandaria, neither side was going to back down. The Alliance recruited the aid of the Jinyu, Murlocs that had found a way to the waters of the Vale and evolved similar to how the Dark Trolls had found a way to the Well of Eternity and they became the Night Elves. The Horde recruited the Hosen to help them out, first through fear, but Lord Walker Cho advised them to follow a different path.
Here we are. Over 14,000 years ago, this entire land was ruled by a terrible race of warlords called the Mogu. The Mogu ruled through fear, and fear kept them in power, until the first Pandaren monks taught my people courage. Then, the Mogu were overthrown. You see, those who lead through fear only stay in power, while those they govern lack courage. The Hosen are many things, but they are not cowards. Not for long. If you don't wish to fight them, you must inspire them.
He's a member of the Lore Walkers, an organization set up to share the people's history through oral storytelling, as back in the day, they were forbidden to learn how to read or write. Lore Walkers do more than just retell stories. They use their learned wisdom to mediate conflicts, diffuse tense situations, try to help all sides see reason, and find a middle ground. Now the Alliance doesn't have to feel jealous about this. Joe is more than happy to help them out as well. Help them with locating the White Pawn while smacking them as they try to meditate.
I'm so sorry. That did not alarm you, did it?
They in fact do find Anduin, but the White Pawn has no intention of going home.
Prince Anduin, we've come to take you home. Come quietly now.
I'm sorry, but I won't. I'm sure you understand my reasons.
Hey! Oh, you're absolutely right, Prince Anduin. You're free to go as you please.
He even uses mind control to avoid us, so we'll run into him again later. Meanwhile, the Horde was also wise enough to listen to Cho, and instead made true allies out of the Hosen, which is ironic, considering there's a history of betrayal from the Hosen to the Jinyu. Safe to say, these two races didn't need a whole lot of convincing to start fighting each other, which they did. Right underneath the statue for the Jade Serpent, right on top, the prison for the Sha of Doubts.
A message must lie within. What fate did the Emperor foresee?
massive loss of life, destruction, and not to mention that the rebirth of the Jade Serpent is now postponed. We go around cleaning up our mess, including banishing the Shaft Doubt from the Temple of the Jade Serpent. The August Celestial does kindly escort us into the next zone, the Valley of the Four Winds. Before we go there, let's not forget to talk about the Order of the Cloud Serpents. They've been around since the days that Lei Shen had fallen, but the Zandalari trolls had not forgotten about the lands that he had promised to them. Not expecting the Pandaren to honor the deal they've made with the Thunder King, the Zandalari instead went on the attack. And they brought in a form of warfare that none had ever seen, descending into battle on the backs of reptilian patera wings and giant bats. An answer, salvation, came from a young Pandaren named Yang. When she was a child, she had found a cloud serpent hatchling, all alone and badly injured after a terrible storm had destroyed his nest. At the time, the Pandaren regarded the flying cloud serpents as untamable and violent beasts, but Yang nursed him back to health and befriended him. Those in the village often saw them flying the skies together. As the monks fought a losing battle atop the cliffs of the Jade Forest, Zhang and a serpentine companion Lo, they swooped down from the clouds. Their fury and fire broke the Zandalari ranks, forcing them to retreat. In pure desperation, the Zandalari already tried to resurrect Lei Shen. Attempts that were stopped by Zhang sacrificing herself. From that day on, more would follow in her footsteps and take to the skies upon the raised cloud serpents. We get to join their order, grow, play, and raise our very own cloud serpents until they've matured enough to become our mounts, and we too get to ride the skies on one of these heroic serpents.
We meet again, stranger from beyond the mists. This battle has extracted a heavy toll. My own rebirth will have to wait for several years. Learn from this, stranger. I do not know why the mists have opened, but I know that it is for a reason. It is clear that you are not here to bring your war to these lands. There is a darkness hidden here in Pandaria. This you have seen for yourself. But I am certain that the mists parted for a reason. You are that reason. Find your purpose here. You can learn a great deal about this land from the Valley of the Four Winds. There is another visitor from beyond the mists here. Chen Stormstout he is called. He is Pandaren, but from a different homeland. Walk this land with Chen at your side. Make friends among the people here. You will find answers in time.
The Valley of the Four Winds is the breadbasket for all of Pandaria. Here, their farmers work the incredibly fertile grounds, thanks due to the runoff from waters of the Vale. Those same waters that were capable of evolving Murlocs into Jinyu. Having such fertile lands even allowed us to put up a little farm and call it home. Although that didn't make it into Remix. Of course, producing massive size of food also draws in massive size of vermins, some with an extreme obsession with carrots.
Feels like we were in that forest forever. Let's go! We've got to explore the valley!
Do not be too hasty, Lily. This is how I traveled Kalimdor, one stop at a time.
No wonder it took you so long then. You can't explore anything sitting on your butt.
Here, we run into Chen Stormstout and his niece Lily, who are exploring the land from which their family originally comes. The Stormstouts are part of those Pandaren brave and adventurous enough to follow Lu Lang beyond the mists and on to his wandering turtle. That adventurous spirit burns deep, which is why Chen was one of the first signs that we ever had of the Pandaren existing. He showed up in Warcraft 3, mainly helping Rexxar and the Horde with their Founding of Durotar campaign, but he's been all over. Like, obviously, an event like the Brewfest, that's something a master brewer like Chen would never miss out. A craft that runs in the family, as within the valley there stands the massive Stormstout Brewery. Hoping to reunite with more of his kin, Chen went out to visit the brewery, but the Stormstouts have fallen on hard times. For generations, their brewery has been renowned as one of the best breweries in all of Pandaria. But now, only one Storm Stout remains able-bodied enough to continue running its day-to-day operations. Only crazy Uncle Gao is face-deep in his barley and brews, letting the entire place be run over by hosen, vermin, and elementals. Chen's a bit disheartened by his uncle, but not for very long. We will prove that he is a master brewer and worthy of the Storm Stout name. We will clean out the brewery and put Uncle Gao in his place, accidentally helping him with creating one of the most beautiful drinks to ever come out of the brewery.
It is the perfect brew. The name of Storm Stout will be sung once again throughout the hills.
Uncle Gao, this brewery was left in your care. What have you done?
You again? Don't you see? I have made a name for myself at last. I have brewed perfection.
At what cost? The brewery is trashed, infested.
Details.
And there are vermin in the main store.
Look, Chen Storm Stout, we all can't be heroes, running from our responsibilities, tromping around the dread wastes, saving the world. Some of us are artists.
I think the brewery might be on fire.
Yes, that happens.
Chen and Lily stick around to work on the brewery's repairs, while we join some students who are looking for the hidden master, yet only one of them truly succeeds. We get to join them in an epic training montage, hardening ourselves to be able to smash away through nearly anything.
This test is simple. All you need to do is strike the bamboo until it breaks. But it's too thick around, you might say. That is part of the test. Yes, to succeed, you must focus all your energy into one fist. Then, strike! An excellent strike! This test is simple. All you need to do is strike the wood until it breaks. But it's too hard, you might say, huh? But it's not too hard. You are ready for this. An excellent strike. This test is simple. All you need to do is strike that stone until it breaks. What? That's impossible, you might say, huh? Well, then you would be wrong. With clarity and focus, nothing is impossible. Well done.
Something that will come in handy soon enough. But first, we travel to the Krasarang Wilds, whereas the Jade Serpent has set up base within the Jade Forest. Gigi the Red Crane, they have their temple within the Krasarang Wilds, which means that we also have a Shah contained here, the Shah of Despair. Anduin has taken quite a liking to the land, learning more, helping out where he can, a ray of hope in the darkness, as the Shah feeds upon the emotions, infusing all of Pandaria, growing stronger and stronger, until it too manages to break out and possess Gigi himself.
It seems hope has triumphed, after all. There is no time for celebration. Many followers of the Way still battle outside.
We bring hope back to the temple, but not all tales get a happy ending. Here, we see a big difference in the Alliance and the Horde experiences. The Alliance help out Lorekeeper Valdrin with investigating an old fable that he'd read about the pools of youth, thinking it might explain the nature of their High Priestess Tron the Whisperwind's visions. The Night Elves have given up their immortality to defeat Archimonde during Warcraft 3, but this choice was made for them by their leader Malfurion. Not everybody was down with embracing sickness, aging, and mortality, so some of them have been seeking out other means of survival, like this fountain. The Horde helps out Sunwalker Desco, who has come here with his very pregnant wife, following visions of a peaceful valley of golden blossoms. Following destiny, they ended up here, but delivering their twins brings complications, which sadly takes his wife. But that would only be the beginning. While the Alliance and the Horde poked a little at each other, the main threat was the Mogu, who murdered Vildrin's daughter. Decided to team up against the general Mogu threats, and then back to focus on their own, we'd see Vildrin embrace the waters of legend. Not as you might expect it, not to give himself immortal life, but instead transfer one's life essence to another. sacrificing his own to bring back the daughter who he lost on his quest for immortality. The Horde, Desco's suffering, had only just begun. The destiny of Pandaria was true and real, something the August Celestials, Gigi the Red Crane, could sense as well. They would later approach Desco and explain this to him. Explain that he was going to have to choose which one of his children he was going to give up to stay with them, so that they could join the Order and fulfill their destiny. Not wanting to give up any of his children, especially not after just losing their mother, Desco decides to run. Gets attacked by the Mogu, and his children are hurt bad. One of them is crushed in a fall. The other is slowly dying from a poisonous blade attack. They make their way to the Vale's sacred pools, the Pools of Hope, where they try to heal the poisoned child. Even the Red Crane of Hope shows up, throws out some healing and resing powers, but then vanishes before Desco could plead for him to help his crushed baby. I'm not kidding, this is an actual short story, and while the moral of the story, it might be something in the direction of don't try to run away from destiny, or that this was the vision that they've been following, bringing their child to the August Celestials. I'll always remember it as a cautionary tale to not mess around with Gigi the Red Crane.
I challenge you not to think of hope as a vague and unimaginable future. Live every day with hope in your heart. In doing so, you create the future you dream of.
He will let one of your children remain dead in order to teach you a lesson. After helping out Gigi and taking care of business within the Krasarang Wilds, we return to the Valley of the Four Winds, where something unusual is happening. Normally, demented strike out every 100 years, but they're still around 10 years away from the next mented cycle. Yet here they are, crashing against the Serpent wall.
What was that noise?
It came from the wall, sir.
I know where it came from. What was it? No. No! Men! To arms! You three, assist Captain Oakenshield in the front. Greenhill, Black Soil, cover our left flank. I don't want any surprises. Levin, take the right side. You're on your own. Everyone else, if you can hold a weapon, protect this village. Don't let them pass this line. You're nothing but farmers' children. We don't stand a chance. Everyone, fall back! Fall back! Yeah!
For Pandaria!
Who are you?
Does it matter who we are? We are here to help you. You were surrendering? Why?
Because these invaders can break down a wall.
You have got another wall. And it is made up of the people who call this place home.
Hey, give me one of them pitchforks.
Any one of us would lay down our life to protect this land. This land, it belongs to us. It belongs to our ancestors. It belongs to our children. And we are not about to let that change.
With all the Shan nonsense that we've been feeding across Pandaria, they're not exactly ready to hold the line against an unexpected invasion. But not to worry. Our heroic deeds in these past two zones, they're brought together. Pandaria rallies and pushes back the swarm.
Return from where you came, Mantis. Yeah! Get back over your wall, you jiggly dukes!
All hope is not lost. You can do this! But you cannot do it alone. You will need the help from that Mushan beast. Yes, I believe her name is, Miss Fanny.
Having the Mantid agitated like this, attacking prematurely. It is concerning, but a worry for later, as our journey will next take us into the Kun-Lai Summit. Our allies from the battle in the Jade Forests, they've been recovering in Kun-Lai Summit. Despite the massive damage, the loss of life, and messing up the Jade Serpent's reincarnation cycle, the Horde and Alliance are no closer to letting go of their hatreds. Sure, they might be a bit injured, but that won't stop them from recruiting the locals and have them fight their wars, assisting them against the local Yongle aggression. Yongles being evolved Tauren, it quickly earns them the favor of the people. We also meet the Grummels, creatures that date back to the time of Lei Shen and the Mogu ruling Pandaria. We have sources saying that it was Lei Shen who shaped the Grummels with the power of the engine of Nalashka. We also have sources that say it was Mogu Emperor Tian, using the waters from the Vale to evolve Trogs into the Grummels, similar to how the Murlocs turned into the Jinyu. Regardless of origin, the Grummels were never truly loyal to the Mogu, and to this day they act as traders, messengers, guides and packpadders for expeditions high up on the Kun-Lai Summit. They're also very superstitious people, who often take on the name of their favorite charms or lucky doos. The Grummels are suspicious of any luck they cannot smell, so it behooves one to meet new Grummels with a pocket full of dung.
Greetings, friend of the Grummels. You smell of good fortune. Tell me, what's your lucky do? Kun-Lai Summit's where we stay. Sit around and trade all day. Bring supplies to Shadow-Pan. Carry many bags we can. Tiny trogs we Grummels are. Looking small from near or far. Many greetings unto you. Tell me, what's your lucky do? Trail yakka, trail packer, move along the road. Trail guide leads the pack that do as they are told. Munchies, crunchies, lucky doos and loot. Hose and call us wickets, and ambush our trade route. What's your lucky do? What's your lucky do? What's your lucky do? What's your lucky do? Yeah, what's your lucky do? What's your lucky do? What's your lucky do? Pandas do kung fu.
In the northeast, we'd eventually run into the Zandalari trolls, ancient allies of Lei Shen and the Mogu, who've come to lay claim to their ancient old allegiance. At the time, we had Prophet Zul spreading the word that Zandalar was going to, or had already sunk beneath the waves.
It is said the god King Rastakhan, ruler of the Zandalari, lords over his mighty kingdom from a throne carved of solid gold. Years ago, as he sat upon this opulent seat of power, he was visited by the dark prophet Zul. Zul warned King Rastakhan of a terrible cataclysm, for Zul had seen a vision of the great armored dragon clenching the world in his ferocious jaws. King Rastakhan did nothing. Months later, Zul returned, bearing more grim news from his visions. He saw a legion of serpents pouring forth from a gaping fissure that tore open the floor of the ocean. Still, King Rastakhan did nothing. Finally, mere months before the cataclysm, Zul returned, tearing his clothes and throwing his staff to the ground. Zul spoke of earthquakes and tidal waves. He described the golden capital of Zandalar slowly sinking beneath the waves in the aftermath of the cataclysm, its once great people drowning as their mighty work slipped forever beneath the sea. King Rastakhan tired of Zul and his troubling nightmares. To be rid of the prophet, he granted Zul the use of his largest ships so that he and his followers could seek a new land if his visions came to pass. And his visions did come to pass. When Deathwing rose from the maelstrom, dark, angry waves crashed into the Zandalari capital. The spine of the land broke in two, and soon the city and all its riches began to slide into the hungry sea. The Zandalari people turned to their king for help, but there was only one Zandalari equipped to help them. The Prophet Zur. The Prophet and the mighty war fleet he had assembled while his king sat idle. You see, the true power of kings and emperors stems from the power to aid their people. The moment they fail, they cede their power to the one who can.
But of course, with Battle for Azeroth, we'd find out that his prophecies there were a little bit over-exaggerated. Zandalar did not completely sink, but that's not something our trolls know in this moment. Right now, they're working very hard on grabbing more magic and power. That's why we see the trolls trying to plunder the Mogu vaults. This is where the Mogu repurposed Titan technology to fit their new needs and ideals, create more of their kinds, and use the engine of Nalashka to create more servants. Then, in Kun-Lai itself, the trolls recovered the remains of the Thunder King to bring their old ally back to life.
Under Kun-Lai thunder sleeps. The storm long spent there rests. But blood of brother kingdom keeps alive the dispossessed. By Zandalari blood he will be taken. To Zandalari voice he will awaken.
Secure the remains, brothers. The Thunder King shall live again.
Rituals and magic that Lei Shen had passed on to them while he was still around. This way, they could rally behind the power of the Thunder King and claim Pandaria as the new home.
Rotten. You are too late. The remains of the Thunder King were taken to the Isle of Reckoning. We performed the ancient rites. Even now, the true Emperor of Pandaria lives and breathes once more. Woe to the Pandaren usurpers! The Mogu will rule this land again, and we Zandalari will have a new homeland.
Seeing how times have not exactly been kind to the trolls of Azeroth, plenty were willing to sign up with the Zandalari, but not Vol'jin of the Darkspear. He could clearly see that Zul and the Zandalari were not the way forwards, regardless of the inner turmoil within the hordes. Now, despite our best efforts, the Zandalari did succeed in bringing back Lei Shen, but he's gonna be a threat for later. For now, we would see young Anduin Rin continue his journey and meet with Swen the White Tiger, another of the August Celestials at his temple.
Half of the Vale lies in ruin. These outsiders have been more destructive than the Manted and the Mogu combined.
Give us a chance to put things right.
Great Tiger, the strangers from beyond the mists, they cannot be trusted. The wreckage in the Jade Forest can attest to this. Soon they will overwhelm this continent. Where do we draw the line?
We're here to lend our aid. We can help you rebuild the Vale.
While working on this video, I had to double check if I had to make any mistakes in my story. But no, what they've done is they've updated the dialogue for this questline to reflect the changes after the Vale opened up and we already went in there. This is fantastic for those that joined the story as it already played out, but here is the original dialogue.
Ah, another stranger from beyond the mists.
Soon they will overwhelm this continent. Where do we draw the line?
We're here to lend our aid. We can help protect the Vale.
We have witnessed your help in the Jade Forest. This horde, this alliance of yours, you have no control over your own nature. You leave misery in your wake.
10,000 years ago, the last Pandaren Emperor came seeking my advice. He too was filled with conflict. Let us see if you are correct, Terran. Let us see how this stranger deals with turmoil of the soul.
Violence. See? They are filled with it.
Yes, we are fighters. But we come from a violent land. We fought off demons, we fought off death, we even fought against the very end of the world.
We can agree it is noble to fight for a righteous cause, to defend home or family. But what of vengeance? What of anger? I sense these emotions run deep in this one.
Anger is a part of all of us. Yes, but we value control. The orcs were once driven solely by anger. They lived in a state of bloodlust, but they conquered it.
All you seek to conquer is each other. To live without anger is not to live at all. It is ours to overcome.
Well spoken, Jade. The strangers from beyond the mists have no shortage of passions, but let us see if they indeed control them. Beyond the anger lies hatred, the wellspring of all misery. What is this? Your hatred has a face.
See how these outsiders hate one another. They wear their hatred to battle and carry it to their graves.
No, that's not true. There is so much more to us than this.
How interesting. They bring much to our land, but they also bring the shadow of war.
Peace will come, I swear it. And old hatreds will go away. You have to believe me.
This one has indeed proven mastery over anger. Between the young cub's words and the actions of this hero, I think I understand. Those from beyond the mists are hardened by battle. They are scarred, yes, but they have learned much. I trust them.
You are making a terrible mistake.
It is decided. I will open the gates. The Vale of Eternal Blossoms will be open for all. It is decided. The Vale of Eternal Blossoms shall remain open. The transgressions of the outsiders have been great, but I see in them the capability to right what has been wronged.
Thank you, Master White Tiger. You will see. I believe that my people and the Horde are essentially good.
I will consult the others. Meet me at the gates.
I find your faith inspiring, little one. But I wonder if you have ever met our war chief.
The young prince really wants them to open up the gates and give us access into the Vale. The place where they're keeping that magical water, where we've had visions and all kinds of cool stuff awaits to be explored. But on the other hand, we also got Taranzu, who's been out in the field, seeing the path of devastation the Horde and the Alliance has created. To him, opening up the Vale to both sides is lunacy. And to be honest, he does have a point. But Anduin is ever the optimist and manages to convince the August Celestials to throw wide the gates.
Children of Pandaria, the mists have fallen. A new era dawns for us all. Accept the healing powers of this Vale, but use these gifts wisely. Children of Pandaria, the mists have fallen. For good or for ill, our land is open to all. We risk everything, allowing so many into the Vale.
I have faith in our friends from beyond the mists.
Their strength is an inspiration, and sorely needed. We must trust that their hearts are pure.
Let us draw ourselves together to rebuild this sacred place, the first step toward healing a war-torn world.
These outsiders have brought chaos to this land. Can we trust them to set it right?
I have faith in our friends from beyond the mists.
Their strength is an inspiration, and sorely needed. We must trust that their hearts are pure.
The opening of the gates not only allowed Anduin to go in to study these waters, it also brought the Alliance and the Horde with all the drama that involved, and the Mogu. They saw the opportunity to quickly slip in as well and attack, setting up within the Mogu'shan Palace, plotting to claim the sacred waters and restore the Mogu Empire. We do have the Golden Lotus, charged with protecting the Vale, that made sure the area remained safe. But with the war ramping up, the task became more and more difficult. Now the decision to ignore his counsel, open up the gates after the destruction that has swept over Pandaria, it takes hold of Taranzu's heart. The Shah are not gonna be starved anytime soon. With the Shah of Anger even able to escape the Shadowpen Monastery, feast upon our emotions, constantly coming back and challenging anyone to face him.
My wrath flows. Yes! Bring your rage to bear! Try to strike me down!
The Shadowpen are doing all they can to hold the line and keep things together, but they haven't seen anything like it before. The Shah was manageable while being safely hidden behind their mists and keeping themselves under control, but our arrival, it has thrown everything into chaos. The Shah of Violence rattles his chains within the monastery, and the Shah of Hatred takes hold of their leader.
Taranzu and the Shadowpan are mine. Come forward and die by my hand, as all who oppose me shall, in the days to come.
The Shah has become so powerful that it manages to take over the main organization dedicated to keeping it under control. Founded by Emperor Xiaohao himself, these are Pandaria's elite, its main standing army, the Watchers on the Wall. So to have the leader and monastery fall to darkness is quite the problem. But we managed to expel it from Taranzu, making him see clear once again, and ready to join us into the Taolong Steppes, where the Shah of Hatred has fled to.
Lao Jin, we have won the day. Why are you weeping?
All those barrels are some of my finest brew. At least it went out in a blaze of glory.
Wait. Where's Lin?
I thought he was with you.
Where is my husband?
He must have pursued the fleeing Yongle while we intercepted their leader.
I'm going ahead. I will see you on the other side. I hope.
Patience, Suna.
Plenty of hatred to go around after all. As the Yongle's brood attacks, they claim the lives of loved ones. And of course, that in turn, it calls for retribution and vengeance. Yet the Yongle don't attack without a reason. Lei Shen built the Serpent Wall, which has protected areas like Kun-Lai, the Vale, the Valley, and Krasarang Wilds. But Taolong Steppes is open and unprotected from mented aggression. Normally, the Yongle are able to hold their own, but they too have to deal with the earlier, much more aggressive attacks. Whatever's been going on in the Dread Wastes, it rippled on into the Taolong Steppes, causing trouble within Kun-Lai and beyond. The Shah have been a real menace, and while Taranzu wants to focus on the Shah of Hatreds, first we will have to reinforce the borders and hold the line against the aggressive Mentids, while also dealing with the local Yongle. Once that has been secured, we can finally focus and deal with Hatreds, after which we made our way to the Niaozhao Temple, the Temple of the Great Ox. This august celestial watched over the Shah of Fear, but like the others, Fear is on the loose, broken its shackles, and didn't stick around in Taolong, as we quickly discover within the Dread Wastes.
Oh, my student, you wish to study the Mantid? Be warned, the Pandaren frontier is littered with the graves of former pupils. The Mantid are harsh teachers. Every generation, the Mantid swarm the Serpent Spine Wall in great numbers. They murder many Pandaren, so we kill many times their number in return. Yet each generation, they attack once more. Why do they do this? We Pandaren do not know. Our ancient writings indicate that the Mantid have always been here. They predate even the Mogu. Where did they come from? We Pandaren do not know. Perhaps if you were to befriend the Mantid and earn a reputation among them,
They would teach you their secrets, but I warn you, nobody has ever befriended the Mantid. Here is what the Pandaren do know. By massacring our people, by slaughtering tens of thousands of Pandaren, generation after generation, they have taught us the value of life. A precious but fleeting gift, easily snuffed out in an instant. This is what the Mantid have taught us.
And so, we travel into the Dread Wastes, Mantid lands, and run into a Kluxi elder fighting one of his own kinds. They're on the job of awakening one of their Paragons, incredibly powerful Mantid encased in amber, to be released in times of great need for their kinds, and times are dire indeed.
I am Kil'jaeden, a warrior from an era long past. In my time, this was a Mogu stronghold. It was my honor to paint the walls with their blood. For my deeds, I was named a Paragon, a hero to be preserved in amber for a time when the Empire would need correcting. Wakener, what power is this that burns our land and corrupts our trees? The palace. This is not our way. I see why the Kluxi have been forced to act. They are a council of our wisest cultural leaders. They serve to check the power of the Empress. Should the Empress ever fall to corruption or endanger our civilization, the Kluxi are sworn to unseat her. There are others like me, Paragons of each era, frozen in time and buried safely beyond the whispers of the Empress. We answer only to the Council, and we rest only when their will is done. My life for the Kluxi. Wind Reaver, you have awakened. What of Kluxi Vatic? And what is this filth you've brought to our sanctuary?
Hello, and welcome.
The Kluxi Va you sent has fallen to an adjunct of Her Majesty. This filth defeated the adjunct and saw to my awakening. We do not need help from the lesser races. Dispose of it. Right away, Kluxi Va. No. The Awakener may prove useful, one way or another.
The swarm attacking ahead of schedule. It could be devastating for their cycle. Their Empress seems to be acting against the Mantid's best interests, and while they're no true friends of mortals, we are allowed to stick around, learn more about them, earn a reputation, and awaken more of the Paragons, figuring out what is going on as we go along. Even running into Chen Stormstout again, who's come here to find more of his kin.
They say your name was Evie. They say you were a sweet girl. I never knew you, but you were family. May your journey in the next world be filled with joy and beauty. Farewell, Evie Stormstout. She looked like Lily. Another one, lost. I may never know the peace of returning to the earth, but at least he went out fighting. Come on, there is nothing more to be done here. I am going on ahead. They say Mama Stormstout is still out there somewhere.
The hatching hour is nigh. I must answer to the swarm. No, you will not keep me. Set me free. The Kluxi call. What? Where? What is going on?
You were being mind controlled by some sort of malevolent ancient insect creature.
Oh, that. Bah, I've been through worse. And who exactly are you?
I am Chen Stormstout, from the Wandering Isle.
Stormstout? No, you're fooling. Really? A Wandering Isle Stormstout here on Pandaria? Where's the rest of the family?
I will explain on the way back to the Sapmasters.
The Stormstouts are not doing great, getting trapped in Ember or getting mind-controlled by one of the Paragons. One of them, not that much older than Lily, lost their lives to the dangers of the Dread Wastes. The Shah infection runs rampant, and the Might of the Demented is a terrible thing to behold. Sure enough, the Pandaren have developed ways and weaponry to deal with their insane numbers. But surprise attacks and fear-fueled assaults, it would mean incredible loss of life, if we can even hold the line.
Death to all who dare challenge my empire! Such is the fate of those who question authority.
Eventually, we try to join the Kluxi and gain entrance into the Heart of Fear. But the Queen isn't exactly able to listen to reason.
Who holds this swarm? Show yourself! Answer to the Kluxi! Treasonous Kluxi! Her magnificence was right about you! Speak your name, puppet, that our annals will be complete! Grand Vizier Zorlok, voice of the Empress. Your Empress has fallen! The Kluxi have pronounced judgment! Stand aside, or be brushed away. The Kluxi are to be disbanded by the will of the Empress. Blaspheme! The desperate Kluxi have resorted to digging up fossils. Very well, let us finish this. Unscathed, indeed. Forward! The Kluxi reveal themselves as traitors. Decimate them and leave nothing behind.
Once free, the Shah of Fear flew over and took hold of the Queen of the Demented. Grand Empress Shek'Zir has become paranoid, fearful, and is pushing her swarm to attack early. This is where one of the most frequently asked questions comes from. If the Demented serve the old god Yashirash, how come they took an active role against the Shah? And the answer is that the Kluxi, or the Demented as a whole, they did not recognize the Shah, Yashirash's final breath, as the true old god. But they do warn us that
we Mantid are an elder race. The Pandaren you associate with, they are but children. They have their role to play. Each cycle, our young swarm their walls. The Pandaren slay the weak, the strong return. With each generation, we grow ever stronger. Before your history began, our empire was vast. We shared this world with our sister kingdoms, Ankiraj and Ajol Nerub. Our gods were many and powerful. We Mantid worshipped the 7 heads of Yasharaj. Great was the Old One, and terrible was his wrath. He consumed hope and begat despair. He inhaled courage and breathed fear. When the usurpers came, the ones you call Titans, Yasharaj was destroyed. His last terrible breath has haunted this land ever since, but the shadows he left behind are mere whispers of his former glory. I tell you now because you have earned this warning. Your gods are not our gods, outsider. If the Old Ones ever return, we Mantid will once again stand by their side. The wisest among you will do the same.
But for now, against just something like the Shah that is actively working against the Demented's best interests, they should be our allies and allow us to take care of business.
No more excuses, Empress. Eliminate these cretins, or I will kill you myself.
With their feet around the corner, the Shah abandons his vessel and relocates to the edge of the Jade Forest, a small part called the Veiled Stair. With what little time it had, fear corrupted the mightiest fortress it could find, the Terrace of Endless Spring. This peaceful monastery served as a place of remembrance for Emperor Xiaohao. It was from here that Xiaohao gave up his physical form and severed Pandaria from the rest of the world. Inside, its corrupted guardians were taken care of, until fear itself was vanquished.
Your lights will go out. The darkness will envelop you, and you will fear the shadows that move within it.
With the death of fear, 6 of the 7 Shah had been cleansed of Pandaria. Only the Shah of Pride remains. But Pride was cleverer than its siblings. While the other Shah had recklessly attacked Pandaria's temples, Pride lay hidden, waiting for an opportunity to strike at the heart of Pandaria itself. The Vale of Eternal Blossoms, the heart of Pandaria. It had opened up its gates after the convincing words of young Prince Anduin Rin. The Alliance and Horde were offered a chance to show that they had more than just war to share, and while some were all about embracing the peaceful life and gathering of knowledge, there were also those with completely opposite intentions, mainly pushed on by War Chief Garrosh Hellscream, who would send out his initial attack force with the motivational words of
"Storm the shore and paint this new continent red!"
The additional reinforcements finally make landfall, set up base on the coast of the Krasarang Wilds. The so-called Operation Shield Wall and Dominance offensive campaigns, they played out. So far, for the story of Pandaria, they've mainly focused on explaining the new continent, diving deeper into the Pandaran's history and the effects of a raw negative emotions invading their lands. Now they brought back in the faction war that's been brewing back home. Garrosh had no intentions of continuing former War Chief Thrall's desire for peace and negotiations with the Alliance. In his mind, the Horde should conquer and dominate anything that they saw fit. Those with the strength to stand with him, they were welcome in his new Horde, but those that weren't down with this path for the people, they were quickly shunned and pushed out. Obviously, not a very cooperative leading style, and conflicts quickly arose within the Horde. Yet, while a lot did not agree with Garrosh or his visions for the future, they couldn't exactly just pick up their things and leave the Horde. Not while tensions were so volatile. They had to consider the safety of their people and try to make something work in the background, like the Blood Elves trying to negotiate with Varian to rejoin the Alliance. War Chief Garrosh was not gonna let that happen though, and pushed his horde on to conquer land, resources and weaponry. Vol'jin of the Darkspear was another that thought Garrosh's vision for the horde was not the best for their people, and so he showed up on Pandaria to keep an eye on things.
The question is, what are we doing here? You bring this war to another corner of Azeroth, and I wanna know why.
Your lack of vision is why your people are still primitives, and your lack of loyalty is why I did not summon the Darkspear for this campaign. Look around you, Vol'jin. This land is rich in resources. Wood, stone, iron, fuel, and people. A show of might on these shores will make the Pandaren think twice about joining the Alliance.
All this bloodshed make everyone think twice about joining the Horde.
This is the difference between me and you, Vol'jin. I won't let my people starve to death in the desert. I will stop at nothing. Nothing to ensure a proud and glorious future for the Orcs and anyone with the courage to stand with us. Wait here.
Garrosh sent them out on a mission to investigate an ancient Mogu secret, which might shed some light on the origin of the Saurak, the servants created to serve the Mogu. They find exactly the thing that the war chief had been looking for, only confirming to Vol'jin that this ain't right.
This be the blackest of magics, man.
Yes! The power to shape flesh, to build warriors! This is what the War Chief wants!
Garrosh playing God, making monsters.
This ain't what the Horde is about! He knew you were a traitor!
Garrosh knew Vol'jin was a traitor. The war chief had gone so far that now any who dare to speak out against him, even if it's the leader of one of the races that was there at the founding of the Hordes, well, they become a free kill. Luckily, Vol'jin survives the assassination attempt, would get his own book to eventually return for the Darkspear Rebellion. While Garrosh is shown to go deeper and deeper into darkness, alienating friends and foes, Varian on the other hand, he's given a path of greatness.
We have them cornered inside the temple. We should strike now.
Things are rarely what they seem, Tyrande. And my son tells me this is a sacred place.
All the more reason to purify it.
They're defending a fixed position. I'm not gonna play their game. We'll draw them out.
You are wasting precious time.
Patience, Tyrande.
He was once very much like Garrosh, but due to coming to terms with his inner rage and turmoil, helped out a whole lot by his son Enduin, the High King of the Alliance shows that he's learned a lot, teaching Tyrande Whisperwinds, warrior maiden and leader of the Night Elves for over 10,000 years, what it means to be patient and not rush headlong into battle, deciding to not use the powers of the Shah. Unlike Garrosh, who will embrace pretty much anything at this point if it would mean giving them more power, working on peace negotiations in the background with the Blood Elves until the resurfacing of the Divine Bell. This ancient Mogu relic, it has a dark history of being able to empower the Mogu forces. Something that Garrosh obviously wants, but the Alliance gets there first and hides it away. Not to worry, Garrosh can kill two birds with one stone, ordering the Blood Elves to use the connections through Dalaran to steal the bell from their asses.
Aethys Sunreaver! You've betrayed the Kirin Tor, Sunreaver. You've allowed Garrosh to move his forces through my city.
You have it all wrong, Jaina. I did nothing.
You looked the other way. You and your insubordinate kind are no longer welcome here.
This is our city too, Proudmoore.
I see. I will remove the Sunreavers by force then.
Causing a massive purge in the city.
Jaina, what's happening in Dalaran? Has there been an attack?
The Kirin Tor was betrayed from within. I've handled the situation.
How?
I've purged the Horde from Dalaran. You have what you wanted, Your Majesty. The Kirin Tor belongs to the Alliance.
But you said that...
I know what I said. My trust was misplaced.
What of the Sin'dorei? The Sunreavers?
Those that surrendered are being taken to the Violet Hold. I make no guarantees about those who chose to fight.
Jaina, you need to talk to me before you act.
How I run the Kirin Tor is my business.
I was trying to negotiate with the Sin'dorei. I was opening discussions to bring them into the Alliance. By attacking their people, you forced their hand.
They chose their own path.
You've driven them back to the Horde.
You're fooling yourself. Once Horde, always Horde. I see that now. I'm mobilizing the Kirin Tor.
Jaina, we've got to work together on this. The Alliance must act as one.
Don't get soft on me, Varian.
Aldiel Shalah. Aethys, you're alive.
Thanks to this hero, a few of us made it out of there. Many more have been sent to the Violet Hold.
Anara Lashdanal. Will someone tell me what is going on in Dalaran?
Proudmoore. She's gone and expelled the Sunreavers from the city. She's purging the Horde from the Kirin Tor.
She's gone too far. I'm certain the Alliance can move their war mages through the city at will. That human witch! When will they learn? When will they see that the Horde exists because of the Alliance? Because of their prejudice and their bigotry? They force us ever closer to Hellscream's Horde.
My lord.
Alduran, summon the Rangers. Romath, assemble the Blood Magi and add the Sunreaver's strength to your own. We Sindori will take our future into our own hands. And get this damn thing out of my sight. Hellscream bought his treasure with the blood of my people. I hope it destroys him.
My lord, you would make a fine war chief.
It may come to that. Bring me my blades. The next move is mine.
Garrosh had earned his price, but the peace negotiations were now dead in the water. The rift between the Alliance and the Horde was ever greater, but not to worry. One man, one golden hero child, would keep his eyes on the prize and save the day. Anduin Wrynn knew that letting Garrosh get away with the Divine Bell, it would lead to nothing but suffering. So he used his knowledge and connections to learn about the Monkey King, old ally of Emperor Xiaohao, now stuck underground in Jade. The Hosen King was found and released, to which he then helped with getting the harmonic mallets, created to turn the Divine Bell's chaos into harmonic balance.
If our enemies push us, we will drive them into the ground. Our victory is all but assured. With the power of the bell on our side, we will be unstoppable.
Stop, Garrosh! You do not know what that bell is capable of.
So, in the end, it is not Varian, but his whelp who comes to face me. You run bravely to your death, young one.
I will not let you do this. I swear to it.
Stop me then, human. This pain! I cannot control it! Fight the Shah. Master it. Use it! Why should we be slaves to honor when we could slaughter the children of our enemies? At night, I see the faces of all those I have slain. Where do our spirits go after our bodies lay cold? War Chief, I have failed. Use your fear, Ishi. Turn it on your foes. When death arrives, will you stand and face it? Or yes, Ishi, you have. Your interference has cost me a great warrior, young prince. You'll pay with your life!
That is where you are wrong, Garrosh. The Mogu made the Divine Bell to create chaos, but the Pandaren created a special mallet to turn the echoes of that chaos into perfect harmony. That mallet was hidden for thousands of years, until now.
Die, whelp! Your alliance must be at its end if you're sending your children against me. I will let you live, so that you can tell your king of the price of his continued defiance.
One prince against the might of the war chief, and still Garrosh loses. The Divine Bell's power overwhelms even his greatest soldiers. And Anduin's influence, it causes him to lose control, lashing out, destroying the bell, and breaking every bone in the prince's body.
Garrosh attacked my son? Where is he?
Anduin!
Oh, Anduin, what were you thinking? I should have sent you back to Stormwind.
He's alive, but his bones are shattered.
Send for Velen. Bring him here at once.
My king, I promise you, the Kirin Tor will come down on Garrosh so hard his ancestors will reel. Blood will pay for blood!
Jaina. I will end Garrosh for this. His horde already crumbles beneath him. We will deliver the final blow. champion. You and Anduin thwarted the war chief today, and won the Alliance a critical victory. But please, leave me now. I must tend to my son, and prepare for our next battle.
He fails to claim the prince's life, so Anduin would spend some time healing and recovering, making a new friend in the form of Rephion the Black Prince, while Garrosh kept on pushing, searching for more power to claim the world in the name of his hordes.
Pandaria, her hills of gold, in dark and mournful times of old, did once a hopeless horror hold. When from her sacred Vale did spring, with storm and flash, a monstrous thing, his name, Lei Shen, the Thunder King. His thunder boomed across the land, and none who dared and fought could stand against the Iron Tyrant's hands. A palace grand, a walled domain, such mighty works born of his reign, built by slaves, their hearts in chains. But seasons change and tyrants die, his fury spent in times gone by. The thunder slept beneath Kun-Lai.
Secure the remains, brothers.
By Zandalari hands, he has been taken. By Zandalari voice, he has awakened. Heroes, sound the drums. The Thunder King comes. The Thunder King comes.
While War Chief Garrosh pushed on his war, another threat rose up to lay claim to Pandaria. In all of its history, from all its Mogu emperors, one name struck the most fear and hatred in the hearts of its people. The days that Lei Shen ruled Pandaria, fulfilling what he saw as the Titan's mission granted to them, were the days best left forgotten.
This has been the worst year of my life. Theramore destroyed, and a betrayal from within the Kirin Tor. The lesson is clear. From here on out, I am taking the initiative. Just down the coast, the Horde is searching for a place to land their troops. They seek to defeat the Thunder King, not to protect Pandaria, but to claim his power for themselves. But this time, we're a step ahead. The Horde will find no purchase on these shores, and when the Thunder King lies beaten, the Pandaren will see that it was Alliance heroes who stood by them in their hour of need. This fight will take everything we have. I hope you are ready.
Aethys, leave us for a moment. Hero, you have served the Horde nobly across many campaigns. I feel I can take you into confidence. Our war chief's campaign across Kalimdor and Pandaria is pulling the Horde apart at the seams. We're here to fight the Thunder King. Justice demands it, and Hellscream is too preoccupied at Domination Point to pay attention here. But in defeating him, we must seek out the source of his great power. We must claim it for ourselves, as leverage against our war chief. In the event of an uprising, we must be prepared. Heads up! Ha! It will feel good to bloody my blade again. Against Alliance or Mogu, does not matter to me. Enough talk. You know how precarious our position is. Between the Alliance and the Thunder King, only with the help of heroes like you can we hope to succeed here.
A threat that cannot be ignored, no matter how high the tensions are between the factions. So while hating each other's guts, Jaina Proudmoore for the Alliance, and Lorthmar Farran for the Hordes, lead each faction to the Isle of Thunder in the campaign of bringing down the Thunder King. Once more, it's Taranzu and the Shadowpan working with us, having to deal with the quabbles and hatreds bubbling between the factions. Thankfully, there were heroes that kept their heads cool long enough to do what had to be done, step by step, conquer the island, open up a path into the throne of Thunder itself. The local beasts are turned into reliable mounts, capable of navigating the storms. Weaponry is turned against its creators. Treasure troves are plundered until one last major threat was left standing. Yet still, Jaina and Lorthmar, they kept on bickering.
Kill him! Quickly! Finish him!
No! My Emperor! My Emperor! I have failed you!
No power of this world can trample the pure of spirit.
Lord Zhu, the Alliance, the Horde, all chaos is about to erupt out here!
Oh, like children. Toshi! Hand me my weapon!
My lord, you are gravely wounded.
My weapon! Champion, with me. I want you to see this.
Hand over the Archmage, and I may yet allow you to walk out of here, Lorthmar.
Proudmoore! You will release my people from the Violet Hold, or I will cut you down myself!
Your people are legitimate prisoners of war. They orchestrated an attack on Darnassus, from my city!
The Sunreavers knew nothing of Garrosh's raid on Darnassus!
Enough! There will be no more bloodshed today! I see now why your Alliance and your Horde cannot stop fighting. Every reprisal is itself an act of aggression, and every act of aggression triggers immediate reprisal.
I must protect my sovereign people.
Silence! You must break the cycle! It ends today. Here, the cycle ends when you, Regent Lord, and you, Lady Proudmoore, turn from one another and walk away.
Rangers, lower your weapons.
My lord!
Do it!
Very well. We will stand down.
They killed my husband.
This won't bring him back. But know this, Blood Elf. There can be no peace while Hellscream is War Chief of the Horde.
That is precisely why I wish to conserve our strength today. Lady?
Lord.
Gather the wounded. Withdraw to the harbor.
Everyone, regroup back at the camp. Our work here is done.
Lord Zhu!
Champion, this ceasefire may not last, but remember what you have seen today.
We must get you back to the monastery.
And so, all blame is placed squarely on the shoulders of War Chief Garrosh Hellscream. But before we can fully focus on him, we first had to bring down the Thunder King, entering a seat of power and taking out his troll allies, horrific creations, twin consorts. Hopefully, this time Lei Shen is going to stay gone for good, but an unexpected surprise followed his defeat.
For millennia I have waited in darkness, in silence, pierced only by the shrieks of the tormented, my dreams a waking nightmare. I see the naive hope in your eyes. You think you are my saviors? Wring that mocking pity from your hearts and focus it inwards, for you shall soon know my agony. This twisted world is beyond redemption, beyond the reach of deluded heroes. The only answer to corruption is destruction, and that begins now. When I am finished with you, I shall not rest until this world is cleansed. Now, perish. The touch of creation and destruction. This is but a taste of my power.
Khepera has been locked away ever since that fateful day Lei Shen found him and took his powers. The divine bell was said to have been crafted from the Maker's flesh, perhaps meaning the flesh of Khepera, plus a whole bunch of power-giving blood has been drained from this place into inventions and to creations above. Safe to say, Ra hasn't had the best days under Lei Shen's rule, and his lethargy or depression, it's turned into a single-minded focus. He believes Azeroth must be purged.
Wait! I am not your enemy. You are powerful, more powerful than he was even. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps there is still hope. But there is a yawning chasm of darkness beneath you mortals, vast, endless, and all-consuming. I do not believe that you can correct this doomed course, but you have earned the right to try. Farewell.
A display of power gives us once again a chance to fight for our planets. But the warning of Ra, the darkness beneath the lands, is dire indeed.
Meanwhile, in the city of Orgrimmar, War Chief Garrosh Hellscream sent Goblin dig teams all across the continent of Pandaria. He promised gold and riches to any who could discover for him the hidden secrets of this land. That failed Pandaria was such a dark and powerful energy. To my surprise, his people have found something, right here in the Sacred Vale. What will happen now? Oh, the story is still being written.
The heart of Y'Shaarj being locked away underneath the Veil of Eternal Blossoms has been a well-kept secret. Not even a Mentit or someone as knowledgeable as Lorewalker Cho knew of its existence. And yet, due to Garrosh's persistence, the heart has been uncovered.
It thirsts. Bring it to the pools.
Enough! You have run rampant for far too long, Hellscream. But that stops now.
Step aside, Pandaren. You confront a force beyond reckoning.
Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now? Beside the Tauren, trolls, and others, you are nothing like them!
They are no longer part of my horde!
Yes, I'm counting on it. The armies of the world will come for me. And within my fortress, they will face all the terrible creatures I have wrought. The boundless power I have mastered. And one by one, they will fall at my feet. Anyone who would rise against my new horde will be impaled upon the spires of Orgrimmar! You Pandaren tried to bury your hate and your anger. But such power cannot be contained. It must be unleashed! A time will come when you will answer for your crimes. I answer to no one! All who challenge me will burn in the fires of my hatred.
Reinvigorated with the waters from the Vale, the heart of Y'Shaarj and the voice of the old god is stronger than ever before. Now the Mentids, they do recognize its powers as that of their old gods, and as they warned us, they stand at their old god's side, by extension serving Garrosh within Orgrimmar. Opening up the gates for the Alliance and the Hordes, it has had some dire consequences, as the land itself is destroyed, and those caught in the blast can't even find peace in the afterlife.
We know only despair now, a fitting punishment for our failure.
I see. This Shaw energy has trapped their spirits here to endlessly relive their failure. It feeds on their despair. Please, help. This is a fate far worse than death. Please, heroes, set their souls free.
With your other sides, we went in to clean up the mess, finding Taranzu on death's door, and the final Shah has finally revealed itself.
The corruption is amplifying. The fragments must be purged before it becomes too great.
Oh, Taranzu, Joe, the outsiders. They did this. We should never have let them in. No, don't speak, friend. I will take you to the healers.
It did not matter. It comes. Steel your hearts and prepare your souls.
Come, face me. Give in to your pride. Show me your greatness.
Pride, the most insidious of all, it awaited for just the right moment to strike. But like his siblings, pride too is conquered. In the meantime, Vol'jin has underwent a journey in his very own book, Shadows of the Horde, where he was given a choice to step away from the Horde and embrace a whole new future. But the Horde is family to him, and the Darkspear is not ready to hand it over to Garrosh Hellscream. That kind of suffering he could never live with. So he returned home to kick off the Darkspear Rebellion.
Look at us three, back to the sands of old Durattar. It'd be just like old times.
Not quite, old friend. Times have changed. The line between friend and foe is not so clear.
As the founding of Durattar, it was the origin point for Chen Stormstout. We now get a bit of a reunion. All that was missing was Rexxar to make the experience complete, but we do see Frau, Vol'jin and Chen leading the charge towards the gates of Orgrimmar.
Hold! Let them run away. Elfskin will execute them as cowards if they go back. Sinjin village is safe. Regroup! We press the advantage! Before the war chief fortifies Razor Hill, we take it for the revolution and close off the road to the barons.
Anyone who can still fight, come with me!
Wait, Vol'jin. Horde is spilling Horde blood. It's tearing me apart.
We need you, man.
I know. I trust you to lead the siege. I am needed elsewhere. I refuse to believe that all of my brethren support Garrosh. I am going to Orgrimmar, alone. Eitrigg, Saurfang, surely they are standing against Garrosh. I must find others.
You set one foot in Orgrimmar, Hellscream gonna bury a knife in your neck.
It's a risk I have to take. But if I am killed, please, watch over Agra and my boy.
I won't hear you say such things.
It has to be said, Vol'jin. If we don't make it through this, I want you to know you have always been my friend, my brother.
For the Horde.
For the Horde.
Thrall and Saurfang would go on ahead and be led in by the ever-loyal General Nesgrim. The orc was conflicted between loyalties. Thrall, his former war chief. Saurfang, one of the most honorable orcs in existence. Eitrigg, always a voice of reason. And yet Nesgrim remained ever loyal to his war chief, Garrosh Hellscream.
You may have defeated my war machine, but the gate still stands. You will not take Orgrimmar today.
Anudora!
What? Kor'kron! To the gates! Now!
At them, my sisters!
As the Alliance and Horde marched on Orgrimmar, he held the gates. Inside, the freshly added Pandaren leader of the Wandering Isle, G. Firepaw, he was being tortured for answers. But Garrosh didn't care about much. He didn't care about the goblins, or the trolls, or he evacuated parents before the bombing of Vermor that are now forced to fight for the Horde's amusement under threat of hurting their children.
Find my babies!
The Garrosh that held on to honor no matter how dire the battle, he is long gone. And so, the Horde and Alliance, they were going to have to kick him out of the mantle of War Chief. No easy task, considering how much time he has spent gathering powers from Pandaria. The spoils, gigantic dinosaurs, the Paragons of the Galaxy, let alone the remnant might of an old god. It had whispered to him, spoken, and shown him the visions for his true hordes.
Behold my glorious destiny!
Through it all, Garrosh was Garrosh, not corrupted or manipulated. He made his choices to lead the Horde down this path, no matter the cost, no matter the powers that needed to be embraced. And yet, despite it all, he was still brought low.
No! This world is my destiny. My destiny.
You disappoint me, Garrosh. You are not worthy of your father's legacy.
His punishment is not for you alone to decide.
I won't let you take him.
We have all suffered from his atrocities. My people, more than any other. Let him stand trial in Pandaria. There, we will mete out justice for all.
The Horde needs its true war chief, now more than ever.
Yes, but it was you that held the Horde together during this madness. It was you that protected our honor. From this day forward, Vol'jin, if you lead, I will follow.
I am not worthy. But I will give my all for the Horde.
Ugh, look at them. Already they plot against us. Seize this moment, Varian. Dismantle the Horde.
Guardsmen!
Father, what are you doing?
What a king must do.
I will speak to your war chief. I speak for the Horde.
Very well. The Horde has committed heinous crimes, Vol'jin. But some among you fought against Garrosh's tyranny. For that, I am willing to end this bloodshed. But know this. If your Horde fails to uphold honor as Garrosh did, we will end you.
What started with discovering a brand new land, it ends with putting an end to the all too familiar faction war. Former war chief Garrosh Hellscream is not directly murdered, instead they place him on trial to answer for his crimes. Vol'jin of the Dark Spirituals is appointed to become the war chief of the Horde now, which I'm sure will lead to a bright and prosperous future for not only him, but the Horde as a whole.
War Chief!
Varian has learned much from his son Anduin, and ignored the advice of Jaina to dismantle the Horde, which I'm sure will lead to a bright and prosperous future for not only him, but the Alliance as a whole.
For the Alliance.
The lands of Pandaria have been fully explored, with the Alliance and Horde's war washing over them and causing nothing but destruction and mayhem. Yet at the same time, we did manage to overcome the threats of the Shah. We fully cleansed and got rid of the heart of Yasharash, we gave Kipara a spark of hope, and hopefully truly vanquished Leishan. The mist around Pandaria kept Emperor Shao people safe, gave them time to grow, and yet it also brought stagnation. Now they're fully connected to the world again, the Vale and the land is going to heal. The scars of the past will fade, and we did learn the answer to the question asked at the start.
Dear Emperor, it is done. The darkness that you once struggled against has been purged from Pandaria forever. But the cost, such a terrible cost.
Do not despair the damage that was done here. You triumphed over the darkness I had locked away. You have shown Pandaria the power of a true hero. But the question still remains, why do we fight? I trust you have learned to fight out of fear or anger is to fight a war that never ends. Face your fears, calm your hatreds. Find peace within yourself so that you may share it with the world around you. These are the greatest treasures in life. Surely they are worth fighting for.
Thank you, Emperor. Thank you.
Another thing that didn't make it into Remix, that was the legendary Cloak questline with the Black Dragon Rephion. This dragon was created by us in the Cataclysm, the first uncorrupted black dragon in millennia, as the rest of his flights, including his so-called father, Deathwing, they've all been corrupted by the old gods. Not a Rephion though, and after murdering some of his flights, he was one of the first that knew the mist around Pandaria had disappeared. Some way, somehow, Rephion received a vision of the coming of the Legion, which, to be fair, considering how often they invade, it's not that hard to predict. All the same, Rephion didn't believe that a world divided could stand against what was to come. And so, he started to pull some string to the background.
Pandaren will tell this tale for generations.
It starts with a hero.
An outsider from beyond the mists.
Conquering a strange new land.
Must we use the word conquer?
Venturing into forgotten vaults.
Mantid and Mogu alike were brought low by the hero's fury.
Their power and wisdom seized for a greater glory.
When war came to Pandaria shores, our hero was ready.
A faction standard bearer, beloved by the people and feared by their foes.
Even the mighty Thunder King fell before our champion's might.
One by one, the secrets of an ancient empire were laid bare.
Yes, knowledge uncovered for the benefit of the world.
Power acquired for war and conquest.
Let us stop for a moment. What kind of hero are we talking about?
An agent of destruction, forged by my will to forever change the face of Azeroth. Behold, latent Titan power, imbued with my own draconic essence, tempered by the wisdom of the Pandaren Celestials. Overwhelming power. Use it to heal or destroy. To protect or annihilate.
My friend, please think carefully about the legacy you will leave behind.
Come to me, champion. Collect your well-earned reward.
How will the story end?
There is only one way to find out.
Favor one faction over the other, made things happen so that the Alliance was in the position to get rid of the Hordes and have one unified Azeroth stand ready for the might of the Burning Legion. But that didn't happen. Varian decided to turn around and walk away, which Raffion didn't like one bit.
That fool king! I did everything in my power. The whole world was his. He needed only seize it. Oh, sure, another year of fighting, enormous casualties trying to take Thunder Bluff, but the rest of the Horde would have caved eventually. Tong! Drink! Now! What? Yes, I was backing the Alliance. I thought Hellscream's victory was assured before he turned half of his Horde against him, so I changed my allegiance. Oh, don't look so surprised. I'm a black dragon. My loyalties are my own. But that idiot Rin, High King indeed. Why did he allow another war chief? He could have united the world under the Alliance banner. What a fool I was to trust his ambition. Should have taken over the throne room myself, like Auntie Onyxia. Get things done.
With a Timeless Isle opening up, a new plan was hatched.
What is this place? A Pandaren enigma, my young prince. A mystery in the mists.
I've been here for hours and the sun hasn't moved.
Exactly. Time is frozen in perpetuity. Cause and effect rendered all but meaningless.
What could create such a thing?
I should like to find out.
The Timeless Isle is quite mysterious, and mainly used as a playground for us to do some cool events, farm some things, and take on Ordos, fire god of the jungle. Described as the Timeless Isle, so named because it exists in a state of perpetual sunsets, was once a place of great reverence for the Pandaren. It was here that trials of wisdom, hope, strength and fortitude took place in front of the great Celestials, where warriors and aspiring leaders would show their willingness to walk in the footsteps of the great Emperor Xiaohao. As a testament to their goal of achieving balance in all things, the Pandaren monks even existed in harmony with the nearby jungle, worshippers of the fiery demigod Ordos. But one day, the island vanished. Some scrolls indicate that the Timeless Isle has come and gone throughout history. sometimes just a glimmer in the distance, often appearing in different locations. Some less fortunate adventurers dared step foot on the island during these moments, and were just as quickly lost in the timeways, never to be seen again. Now, and perhaps only for a moment, the island has returned.
The presence of the Timeless Isle is proof that many things are possible beyond the boundaries of linear thinking.
You have the power to change your destiny. Return
Indeed.
twice as
After
powerful.
the Cataclysm, my flight's connection to the Timeways
Do not
forever
mistake the power
changed.
that darkness
What if it
offers
were
for
possible
true
to shape
strength.
and mold time as you would a ball of clay? What possibilities await? What new worlds could we create?
I like the way you think.
The main story that played out to get us into the next expansion is that after the Cataclysm, the dragons had given up a huge portion of their power. And yet, they still had the domains to maintain. The Green Dragons, for example, had the Druids to help them out with maintaining the Emerald Dream. Bronze Dragons, they got the Time Walkers, brought in from the Warcraft trading card game. But not every dragon was down with being powerless, having to rely on the aid of mortals. Kairos Dormu wanted to find a solution, and the Timeless Isle seemed to provide just that. We went around gathering power from the Isle for him, which he used to fill up his hourglass of time. With it, we witnessed visions of the past, present, future, and timelines that would never be. With it, they showed moments of the past during Garrosh's trial to support their court proceedings. With it, he and Rephion betrayed us all, liberated Garrosh from the trial, and took him into a brand new reality, kicking off events for the next expansion, Warlords of Draenor.
This was not our destiny. Times change.
But that story and more is already up on the channel. So, Mists of Pandaria has now been fully covered. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one. And until next time. See ya!